Alright, so in this video I'm going to explain to you a couple of the different things that I want to see in your notebook, right? We're going to start making some foldables, and I'm going to walk you through step by step how to make it and what it should look like and what I'm really looking for when I see your notebooks when we're back on campus. So the first one we're going to be making is, first things, you really need your notebook, and you're going to need some scissors, and I used markers because they're easier to see, and then a piece of just plain white paper, right, that we're going to cut into chunks. So the first thing you're going to need is you're going to need 1/4 of a sheet of paper. Okay, so this is for the first thing that we're going to do in our notes. So once you have that 1/4 sheet, right, I just took one sheet and then folded it like a hamburger and folded it like a hot dog and cut along. So we're going to be making a place value foldable, so help us with our place value when we're dealing with decimals. So the first thing we need to do is kind of just fold over one of the sides, and it doesn't need to be folded over super far, probably about 1/2 inch. It's not an exact thing. So we have a little tab right here. This is going to be what we're going to eventually glue or tape into your notebook. Okay, so then once we unfold it from here, then we're going to actually need our scissors, and we're going to cut this paper, you'll see as I did here, into 7ths, right? And so you can actually get out measuring, or you can just get fairly close. That's okay with me too for this example, and for a lot of these notes. As long as you're pretty close, we'll be good. So you really need 7 different things that fold up, okay, as you can see here. So then we're going to get our marker out, and this is where you're going to start actually taking your notes, okay? So this is our place value, and yours needs to look just like this, right? So I see I have my place value written across the top, so we can go ahead and just say place value. And then these are the ones that we definitely need to know. And since we're dealing with decimals here, your decimal is going to go kind of in between. So you need to have 3 of your tabs on one side and 4 on the other, and your decimal is going to go right in between those. So here's kind of my decimal right here. Okay. So then I see on the smaller side of my decimals, I have right here, I've got tenths, hundredths, and thousandths, right? And you'll notice the TH on those. And then on this side, I have ones, tens, hundreds, thousands. Okay, so that's the first part of what I want to see in your notebook. The second real thing is what we're going to do with it. So now that you've got this made, go ahead and tape it or glue it into your notebook, because there's a few more things we need to add. So on this, from the decimal, we're going to go and make a little line. These values, as we go this way, get smaller. So we're just going to go ahead and write that in our notes as well. As we go to the left, these get larger, right? That's just kind of our reminder. So now the reason I don't want you to glue this whole thing down, the only part you're going to actually glue or tape is this top little edge, is because underneath each one of these flaps, you are going to write some numbers. Okay? So then when we get together in class again, we're going to actually write out what your entire decimal means and how you would read it. Okay? So I want you to come to class with this already cut and labeled on the outside, this top piece glued or taped into your notebook, and just this reminder of which way it gets larger and which way it gets smaller. So that's the first one I want you to come with. Then the second thing that we've been working on is we've been working on adding and subtracting decimals. So you're going to be making a little just step-by-step foldable to help you remember what's going on. So to do this one, you're going to need 1/2 of a piece of paper, right, which you can use the other half from what you used before. You're going to fold this 1/2 of a piece of paper, hot dog style, so kind of long and skinny. And you're going to make 4 tabs in it. So really you can cut in half and then cut each of those in half. So now we have a little book with 4 little windows. And you'll see on my example I wrote step 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is for adding or subtracting decimals. Okay, so now at this point you can go ahead and tape or glue this into another piece of page on your notebook, because you're going to be writing and filling these out. So now when I lift up my steps, you'll see that when I'm adding or subtracting, my first step is to line up the decimals. The second step, as you looked in your video, was to add a 0 to the right of any number, right? It's kind of a placeholder. Then you're going to add or subtract from the right to the left, and then bring down the decimal. So now that I've given you this information, and this is exactly what I want to see in your notes when we look, now I'm going to give you an addition and a subtraction problem for your decimals that you're going to write down here so that I can see you follow these steps. So then here are your two problems that I need to see in your notes. So first you are going to add 7.88 and 18.337. So I want to see in your notes you follow those steps from that foldable. So these you're going to add, and then the ones you're going to subtract, you're going to do 19.21 minus 17.930. So I want to see these steps in your notes as well. So if you want to do them different colors, you sure can, or just let me know which one is which. And we'll be checking these in class next week.